wonderful change has come over me. A wonderful change has come over me. He changed, oh, he changed my life complete. And now I sit at his feet to do what must be done. I'll work and wait until it comes. Oh, wonderful change has come over me. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? You know what it is, and by now you should know who it is. It's your girl, Reign. Today is Free Your Mind Friday in Reign's World. Free your mind, and the rest will follow. Be colorblind. Oh, sorry, I just got off work. Kind of been, this training was kind of boring. So, excuse the fact that I'm kind of acting up. Say you did. But let's get into it. Tonight is season 2 of the original, formerly named SheReigns podcast and show. But it's now called Resurrected Reign because your girl is newly resurrected. She is now the female Lazarus in the Talitha Kumi of 2021. So after God allowed me to come around and get a little healthy and sis boom bop, he allowed me and told me to change the name. So here we are. I'm going to be more holding myself more accountable to give you all more YouTube and podcast material. I've been showing a lot of love to Facebook and to Instagram and to TikTok. So I need to be more proactive with my other platforms because I want to make sure that I leave no one out, because everyone doesn't have Facebook. Everyone doesn't have TikTok. Everyone doesn't have YouTube. Some people only want to listen to your voice. Some people don't really sit down and look at the blog section of it. Some people would like to go back and be able to look at it at a later time, and that's okay. So I want to make sure that I give everybody a little piece of rain. It's enough for me to go around, say he did. So tonight is going to be kind of heavy. So I also wanted to give myself a little freedom of how long I can talk and where I can talk and all those things. And a lot of times, when you're on other platforms, and it's not a knock to those platforms, it's just that I feel like sometimes I need to rush because a person's attention span is only so long when it comes down to certain aspects. And I also kind of wanted to have the freedom, to be able to flow out without certain interactions. Lord, where my mind trying to go? Without certain distractions from other parts of those particular sites. And what I've come to realize and recognize is, like, right now, it's just you and I, the rainbows. There's no, pinging of somebody leaving me a notification, or there's no dinging or sound going off to try to take my mind off of what I'm talking about. And tonight's topic is kind of near and dear to your girl Reign. It's your girl Reign's redemption, resurrection story. Like I said, I'm newly resurrected, so I wanted to share exactly what's been going on with your girl been, why she kind of been sporadic here and there. And I also want to let you understand where your girl Reign will be going when it comes down to like ministry and mission work, and where my life is going now, because God has placed me on a new type of trajectory. It's kind of new and it's kind of not new. The people that know Reign and know of Reign and have experienced Reign before, I came to the social media world are all saying, well, this is kind of who you are, Reign. It just makes sense. So it's not kind of, surprising and shocking to us. So anywho, let me get down to the nitty gritty. Disclaimer, Reign service announcement. This particular episode might not be one of those episodes that you watch with your children because it's going to have some details or some content matter that you might want to watch with your older, like teenage children. Or if you're going to watch it with your children, you need to, if you want your children to see it, you need to watch it with your children so that you can have conversations with your children about certain portions of what I'm going to talk about tonight. And I also need to make another Reign service announcement. I'm not going to go into major details if you start to come on and start to ask your girl questions, because that's what the book is for. I just simply want to be obedient to what the Spirit is telling me to do when it comes down to this particular season premiere episode. Last night, your girl Reign had the season premiere for the Reign show. Just a simple Reign show, just the Reign show that I have on normally on Tuesdays. I had it last night on Thankful Thursday because it was a special season premiere episode that I did with my sister, Shan Lucas, the designer and creative mind behind Trust God Sis Apparel. So it was really amazing. We had a few little, glitches here and there, but that's show business, right? But it was really, really amazing. So if you have time, go back and watch it. And when I get time, I will take it off of Instagram and Facebook and I will bring it to YouTube so you can see it. But I really want to try to keep some content separate and have your own personal place to see me at. You don't always have to go over there to Facebook when you spend a lot of your time on YouTube or whichever one, vice versa. So I think I should start this off by saying that I first and foremost want to free my mind by thanking God for even allowing me to be sitting here talking to you all, the rainbows. I am so grateful and thankful to each and every one of my rainbows out there. We might not be many, but we're powerful. And I love and I appreciate each and every one of you all. The Rainbow Coalition is growing. I love all of the messages that you guys send me, all of the motivation that you guys have sent into me, especially now that I'm on the road to Reign 5.0. And I'll get to that a little bit further ahead in the conversation. But I do try to answer as many of the comments. I try to respond back to any emails. It is me, she, me, her, like my girl Tamar Braxton says, that answers you back. I do not have a team or army of anyone with me. Like my sister Shan said last night, we are solopreneurs. We own our own, in controlling our own bandwagon and all of those things. So, it's not like right now, Blue Friday is coming up. Blue Reign Designs and Company is going to be a year old on the Black Friday weekend. But your girl doesn't call it Black Friday. I call it Blue Friday. We are going to be running a sale. So you'll look out for all of the little advertisements for that. Your girl Reign has a new Spirit downloaded merchandise coming up. There is going to be some sales on the store, on the website, and things of that nature. There's going to be new website coming up. Your girl is in the process behind the scenes with her other sister, Stink, the CEO, marketing extraordinaire, the GOAT. Call her the guru of marketing, branding, and all those things. So I will put her information in the description box of this video. You can holler at her if you need to brand anything, if you need any marketing ideas, if you have anything that you want to know about the business world and those type of things. She has it all. She has the connections too. If she doesn't have it in her own repertoire, she has connections. She is the ultimate plug when it comes down to those type of things. So she's helping your girl get From just, a regular Texas, Louisiana Creole Nation girl. I'm going to always be that. But I want to be able to give you all the rainbows exactly what you deserve, because you are some of the best and loyal fans that a girl could ask for. And I cannot wait to have our first little meet and greet. I can't wait to have the Reign Free experience, the gathering. Will be coming in 2022. I'm shooting for, my number is 5. I'm shooting for the May 5th, 2022 for the Reign Free experience gathering. So it's a lot of stuff been going on, but let's get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's season premiere episode. I'm going to be sharing with you how God took me from rape and lies to Reign DeTruth on the road to redemption, and then can cause the resurrection in my resurrection story. So some of you rainbows already know that I am a survivor of different types of abuse, because, I don't hold any punches. I'm very raw, transparent, and uncut. So your girl at 7 years old experienced the first incident of rape, right? And it changed my life forever. I think that a lot of times church folk or the kingdom has put the rug over these type of conversations. And so many times we get lost in the sauce. Our boys and our girls get lost in the sauce. Well, God is calling your girl Reign to go back and let everyone out there know. I like to call you all my misfit toys, the ones that have been damaged, the ones that have been bruised, the ones that have had their voice taken away and their security and their strength taken away and made to feel like they're not worthy enough, because hello, she was one of them. I have to go back and get the little girls and little boys that look like me and sound like me, and let them know that they can come out of hiding, that it's safe, that no one will hurt them anymore in that particular way. Because things are going to happen. Life is still going to happen. But I mean, that particular trauma won't happen anymore. So from 7 years old all the way up until my late 20s, I went through, bouts of rape, molestation, physical, emotional, psychological abuse. I had a kind of tense and tight relationship with my mother. I think that now that I'm looking back on it, I had that type of relationship with my mother because she was not really sure of the trauma that came along with me getting raped and molested. Also, 9 times out of 10, when a child or a teenager or even an adult suffers and survives the sexual trauma, it makes them want to be promiscuous. It makes them feel like that's what they're supposed to do, especially if it's an early age. It also 9 times out of 10 causes them to have anger and resentment and rage inside of them that they hold in, because like I said, it takes your voice. It takes your security within yourself. So a lot of times your children, that if you don't pay attention to your children, you won't even know that the situation has happened unless your child just comes straight out and says it. And sometimes even when the child, like myself, comes out and says something, no matter how long it took, how you respond to the child is going to dictate a big part of what comes out of it as well. Because she, me, her, like my girl Tamar Braston likes to say, the first time when I was 7 years old, I didn't tell anyone because the young man that took my innocence was my best friend's brother and my brother's best friend, and our mothers and fathers were best friends, and we lived next door to each other, like this close. Can't even see my whole face, right? And Reign has a father that didn't really play that, and my brother wasn't a pushover either. And I did not want, because these were my parents, they were like my secondhand parents. And these were my biological parents, and I just didn't want to cause any kind of confusion. I was already feeling like, well, what is it? What is it that I did to cause this particular instance, this particular horrifying situation? And how am I, as a 7-year-old girl, even though I was intellectual, how am I supposed to explain this to anybody that will believe that I'm saying it, right? So I held on to that first infraction for 2 years. And it forever changed me holding on to it for that long. Because I had no one that I thought I could talk to. I felt like I was invisible. I felt like no one cared to know anything about what had transpired. I felt like Medea said, I was invisible, and I truly, truly, truly have always been that type of person to where I think about everybody involved. I really, truly do. And I never wanted to lose my sister / best friend. I never wanted to get him in trouble, because we were still kids, even though it was a wrong transaction all the way around. I'm not ever going to say that it wasn't wrong, but we were kids, and I thought instantly my father is going to kill him and everybody over there. And then I'm going to lose my most important person at that time. I am a for real, like true blue daddy's girl. My father is everything to me still to this day, right now, today at 43 years old. So, and I didn't want him to go to prison for something that I still felt like was my fault. Of course, it's never, ever, ever, I don't care what anybody says, that type of abuse or that type of detriment is never your fault. Ever. Okay? You see my face? Ever. Okay? So, fast forward. So when you hold on to those type of transactions, when you hold on to those type of, I hate to say the word, damning, traumatic experiences, oftentimes you have to make up a fantasy land in your head, like the movie Precious. You know how she would always go, to her other world whenever these type of situations would happen to her. Well, that's really truly a lot of times what happens. Probably 85% of the time, you kind of make up this alter ego type of safe haven type of place that you allow your mind to go to, because the realistic mind and the realistic everyday life is so hard to bear, right? So as I got older and as I kept having instances of either some type of hand on the skirt or rub on leg or someone saying something to me and they open up to be my father, different family members and transactions that went on, I just became, I was never numb to it. Some people have the luxury. I'm sorry, y'all. Some people have the luxury of becoming numb to it, and it just becomes a part of who they are. And I just never, for some reason, God never allowed me to become numb to it. It was just, I could kind of feel it coming, and I tried to do my best to not be in a situation to where that type of thing could take place. But you can't always protect yourself. You just can't always protect yourself. You can't just always be, I don't care how hard you try, you just can't always be on ready. It just doesn't happen that way. So as I got into junior high, into high school, and I started realizing that there was a way that I can kind of take some of my power back, because I felt like I had pretty much lost touch of my realistic self. I was so used to having an alter ego 2 or 3 sometimes. And not saying that I had what's the word? What's that mental illness? I didn't have the mental illness where you have different people living in your head, even though I would say that. I just had, I like to call it my safe place inside of myself that I felt like, I can hide all of my true emotions. And I took on this, I need to be hard, raw, uncut, I don't care, I'm a fight type of persona. I'm going to try to get you before you get me. And I remember I started carrying around razors in my mouth. I got one of my friends to teach me how to hold it. I would always have a box cutter somewhere or ice picks. I always had big breasts. So I would go to school with different weapons, so that the detector wouldn't pick it up. Or I really start fighting so that I could know how to be good at it, because I felt like, at least I could try to fight. So I'm not gonna just let them take it no more. Just take it. When you're a little bitty girl, like 7, 8 years old, 12 years old, you can't fight. But when you get older, I ain't gonna just give up my cookies. I'm sorry. Even though you're gonna take it anyway, it just wasn't what it was. I'm gonna try to fight. So there came the lies, because the people that know you and pay attention to you, like I have a sister, her name is Shawanda, and she was when I say she was the keeper of my secrets. And for the most part, still to this day, she's the keeper of my secrets. But she would be like, something happened to you. What's going on? And I remember I'd be like, girl, what you talking about? You tripping. Nothing happened to me. Like, stop worrying about nothing happened to me. She'd be like, no, something's different about you. And I'm going to tell you, it's a beautiful, wonderful blessing to have someone that's like that in your corner and have them not judge you for things that you had no control over, or to have someone like that can recognize who you see, the who you truly are, and not for the person the shell that you put on, the face that you put on, the makeup that you put on, or whatever. I remember I had started self-mutilating. I would cut myself. I've always had long nails, so I used to stick pins, the straight stick pins, like what you use if you're gonna make a dress or something. I used to stick the stick pins under my nail. I would think about something that happened and it would just come even when I didn't want it to. And in order for me to keep myself from lashing out at the wrong people, or, I never wanted to show my emotions. That was something that I'm still to this day, as we speak, asking God to help me with, because I just didn't have time to always be emotional. Because if that was the case, I probably would have never stopped crying, But I would stick my fingers with the stick pins. I would cut my fingers. I used to cut my fingers where the bend of each section of your finger is. And my sister was like, I gotta figure out how to stop you from hurting yourself. Like, but she would always know. For some reason, she would come in the bathroom right when I'm slicing, or right when I'm getting ready to stick something, or right when I'm getting ready to beat somebody up. Because when I didn't hurt myself, I would just go hurt somebody else. If they looked at me wrong, if their voice changed the wrong way. Still to this day, a lot of people did not know just how evil I had became. And it was horrible to me, because I truly love people. Yes, your girl Reign used to be, when I say I've been out there and I've done everything, I mean just that. I had some times when I would just be so enraged, so just out of bodily, just angry. And 9 times out of 10, somewhere down the line, someone that has been sexually abused, bullied, physically abused, mentally and emotionally and psychologically abused, eventually it comes out. That's where a lot of the psychopaths and sociopaths come from, because they've held in all of these beat downs, and somebody constantly saying that they're not going to ever be anything, or they're stupid, or they're ugly, or they whatever, right? Excuse me. So I went to lying and making up stories because I never wanted anybody to get in my business, and I didn't want teachers to be calling my mother and my father, or I didn't want, situations to be coming to my house, because I remember when one teacher was being too dang on nosy, I hadn't did something that I got in trouble, and my mother probably tried to beat the karma off me, and I had a bruise on my face. Now, my mother says I ran to the door, but as I remember, and I have a pretty good memory, she hit me. She was whooping me like Black families do. Hello. And the belt buckle, it was one of her nice, I think it was like a Gloria Vanderbilt belt buckle, but the belt buckle hit me in my eye while I was trying to run away, and it got caught. My hair was really long, and it got caught in my little puff. When your mom used to plait your hair in the twist, by the time the heat hit it, it would just poof up. Well, my plaits used to be like that. So anyway, the teacher was all in my business, and when she was talking to me, I wouldn't look at her. And so she was like, well, I need you to go to the nurse. Go to the nurse for what? Am I sick? So, baby, even back then, one thing I did to cover my emotions was I love to eat food. I always loved the apple. You can give me an apple. So many of my baby teeth came out in apples and stuff like that because I would love to eat. Okay, that was always my thing. So she was like, if you go to the nurse is gonna take you and your brother to get. I'm like, what my brother got to do with this? He ain't even in my class. He older than me. But anyway, yeah. So I never wanted to have to, always explain what's happening. I remember when the times that I did tell, it always seemed to be like this big catastrophic thing, something always blew up and it never came back normal. Okay. And I guess it's not supposed to, now that I'm thinking back on it, but it never, ever came back normal. So I remember, making up fairy tales. I would tell the truth, but not the whole truth. So if you ain't telling the whole truth, you're still telling a tale. So I had took on the persona and the perception to people around me and my family that I would make up stories when I really wouldn't be making up stories. And I've always been able to see things that other people couldn't see. I've always been able to see the spiritual realm, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or in between. I remember many a times I would get in trouble, especially when I would go with my mother to Big Cane, Louisiana, and go visit our family in Louisiana. I would always see the witches, and I know now that they were witches and warlocks and just, different premonitions and stuff like that. They could be dead for decades, and I could still talk to them and see them. And sometimes I would talk to them and have a funky good conversation with them and just be fine, right? Especially now that I'm older, I realize that that's what was happening. So anyway, I've always been different and peculiar and unique. Even when I try to be normal, there's just no such thing. Hello, you see my hair is green and orange, right? Oh, okay. I've always been different. So after a while, as I got older, and I really started to try to get my life right after I had, become a widow at 23 years old from my first marriage. And then I got into lesbianism and was in lesbianism for almost 20 years, and survived all the different emotional things that go on in lesbianism, and trying to decide if I want to be a lesbian or if I want to be with a man or if I want to be with both of them at the same time. And I did for a minute. It was my business, like my fair play mother Tabitha Brown said, and I did. I never really tied the initial rapes and molestations with how I live life, in between teenage, high school, young adult life decisions. But they played a part, they tied into each other. So once I started to get more into my relationship with God, my creator, and I started allowing him to help me, let some of these things out, because I was tired of carrying it because it's really heavy. Then I started to come to where he got to the point to where he changed my name. Now, he changed my name 8 years before now, and I didn't understand what exactly it meant. I thought it was just going to be a poetic expression because I've always been a person to write poetry. But I have a cousin who I call my favorite galaxy dancer. You might know of her, Ebony Stewart, aka the Gully Princess, aka I'll Eat Your Cupcake. She can do spoken word like no other, and has been rewarded and granted all over the world for it. But anyway, I would always, that was one thing that when my mother kind of caught on to the fact that I was having some issues, and when I found out that I was one of the many family members that suffered and have been surviving bipolar mania disorder, when I went to the Kookaloo place, she was telling me that I could start writing things out. And once I really started truly knowing that I wasn't throwed off again for writing things out, I used to always write stuff out. I remember she found some of my letters that I wrote some knucklehead boy decades ago and was like, girl, who know how you know how to write like this? Because I would be detailed. Say you did. So once I started writing things out and really just allowing God to help me release those things, that's when the redemption started to come, because then I started to slowly but surely pray and fight my way to get back my voice, get back secure within myself. And at this time, I hadn't got up to 528 pounds. With my first husband, I was a size 28, 30 in dress or pants. I had 52 triple D breasts. I was just miserable. But, the way God blessed my body, nobody knew how big I was, but I knew, because I knew my knees would hurt, my back would hurt. And a lot of times I would get to the point to where I didn't want to put on anything but the little moo-moo dresses. Excuse me. So I knew I had to try to figure out how to get out of that place, or I really felt like I was going to die in that place. So, glory to God. I started to, come back into myself. And then when I realized that I can really take my power back, so I thought, in a warped sense, by allowing, if men gonna try to come get me for what my body can bring, let me make them pay for it. Like my grandma used to say, you should never not have to pay. You should never have a bill that's not paid. If the man want it, he don't just give it to him for free, because you got to pay for how to clean yourself up. You got to pay for the doctor visits. And if it just so happen he gives you something, you got to pay for the medicine. She was right. So once I realized that I had this, people would tell you, you pretty, you this, you that, the men, or whatever. So, and at the time I had long hair, right? Like Diamondback long hair. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on with that. But when I realized that I could use my body and do something that I love, because I love to have fun. At that time, I loved to drink and could drink with the best of them. Okay. I would always grab my knees and twerk. If a good groove came on, I'm dancing, and would dance by myself and would. So once I realized that I could dance and make money, and I didn't have to worry about nobody taking care of me, and I didn't have to worry about, putting a burden on my parents and stuff like that. Even it was so bad that my mother moved out of our house and didn't want me to know where we lived. Because at that time, she still thought I was doing things that I was doing and going through the changes that I was going through because I just wanted to be rebellious and make her life miserable. No, it was because I was just broken and I was just hurt and I was just angry and I did not know how to get those things out. And that's okay if you're in that place, but there is help. You're looking at someone that can help you. But anyway, once I realized that I could use my body and I can control what happened to my body, and even without getting paid, I still could control what happened to my body and who I could let my body be around, right? Excuse me. Then I started to get into stripping. I started getting into selling drugs. And then I was always the girl with all the guys. I remember at one point, I was the only female with about 10, 15 dudes. My boys was my friend. I loved to hang around the guys. And I think it was because I was such a daddy's girl. And I went everywhere with my father, and it was always my father and my big cousins, like at the cafe or just hanging out. Literally, my father used to always tell me, "You need to, ladies supposed to be in the house with the ladies. I want to be outside with the men because y'all having fun out here." But I had to learn how to, play my part, know my place. But when I got older, he was like, "I can't tell her to go in the house because she bigger than me," and he literally called me bigger than me. But anyway, and then once I learned how to make money off of them trying to get what I got, right? Like I said, I really started to try to feel like I had this warped sense of security, because if you gonna rape me anyway, I might as well take the money for it. But then after a while, that just started making me feel more dirty. It just started making me more angry. It just started making me die more inside. So then, like I said, came years later, I'm no longer in lesbianism. My ex is now my best. Well, she's always been one of my best friends since we met each other and started hanging out with each other. But now we are literally best friends. We are roommates. She is one of my biggest supporters. She makes sure that I am still straight. If she can tell if it's time for me to take my medicine, if I'm not taking my medicine, if I'm I probably would not be alive right now if it wasn't for God and her, being around me whenever the stuff hit the fan. And now I get to the point to where the resurrection and, redemption play a part into the story. So my whole life, I've always been the church woman's daughter that married the street man. And the street man's father is the gospel preacher, and a lot of the men in my mother's family are ministers. Like my uncle, he's my pastor still to this day. And my grandfather was one of the head deacons of our church. My father's father, like I said, is a pastor. So I'm a PK grandkid. Well, I'm a preacher's grandkid. And I have uncles on my father's side that are ministers and things of that nature. And I have some aunts that's, in ministry as well. So I've always known about God. That was one thing that both of my parents made sure that they gave me, because I came from the era where you live in this house. On Sunday mornings, you're going to church, and sometimes Sunday evening if we have second service, and on Wednesdays you're going to Bible study, and Thursday you're going to prayer meeting, and Monday you might go to mission, and you might be on the usher board, or you're going to sing in the choir or something, right? So I always had, my own relationship with God, but I was never really in love with God like I am now today. And I knew that God had been calling me to come and do his will, do his work, and to help his people. I've always loved to help people. That has always been my thing. So that wasn't the issue I had. But like I said, I love to curse. I love to dance. I love to drink. I love to smoke. And I used to smoke weed with the best of them. I used to sell drugs. I used to do like pop ecstasy pills and stuff like that. Thank God I never got hooked on heroin. Thank God I never got hooked on crystal meth. Thank God I never got hooked on crack. Thank God I never got hooked on really like the heavy things. But I've tried a lot of things. I've never tried those things either. I've tried a lot of things though. So when it came down to December of 2020, I'm then 42 years old. And I said, God, you know what? Because I'm in a marriage that's I'm in the process of getting a divorce. And I never thought that I would be the girl that had a divorce, because I don't believe in divorce like that. But when God says that you can't treat his people bad, do my prophet no harm, touch not my anointed, he means just that. So anyway, and then when you marry somebody and you're not supposed to marry that person, then you have to suffer the consequences. So once I told God, okay, I'm tired of running. I need your help. I cannot carry all of this stuff anymore. I don't want to be angry anymore. I don't want to be tormented in my dreams anymore, because I am a seer. I can see, I can hear, I can feel, I can smell spiritual and natural situations. I don't want to be lost anymore. I'm tired of feeling like I'm not worthy. I don't know why you keep calling me, because I've done all these things, God. Clearly, you can't have anything that you can find valuable in me. But how many of you all know that that's not how God works? So anyway, December 2020, I said, okay, God, listen, I surrender. I surrender it all to you. I'll give you my whole entire life. You can have it. I'll do what you want me to do. I'll say what you want me to say. I'll go where you want me to go. But I need you to make sure that you show me that I didn't go through 42 years of all of these bumps, bruises, hurts, tores, snares for nothing. It wasn't in vain. So each year for the past 8 years, since he really changed my name to Reign DeTruth, he would give me a scripture, or he would give me a song, or he would tell me things like that I could look forward to in that year. So in January of 2021, this year, he told me that he was going to show me miracle signs and wonders like in the Bible days, if I just trusted him and I allowed him to do what he needed to do in my life. And then he gave me the scripture. I think it's Zechariah 4:6, where it says, "Not by might nor by power, but by your spirit, by my spirit, says the Lord." That song by Tasha Cobb and Kiera Sheard was the song that he gave me to go with that. And then he told me who I was to him, a teacher, an evangelist, and some other things he told me. I have it. I'm pointing over there because it's on my. You all have seen my umbrella, my vision board over there. So. Okay, I was going through the year, he started giving me, visions of my businesses. Like I said, Blue Rain Designs and Company will be a year old in a couple of days. So he gave me that business, and then he gave me the coaching business, where I would use it as my ministry. He gave me Focus Life Ministry almost 5 years ago, and now he gave me, how I can pull it all together. Sorry, I'm trying to stay focused. And then around April and May, he started showing me that I was going through a transitionary period. And then he started telling me that eventually I was gonna have to go through, some more wilderness experience. And I'm used to that. Whenever you get ready to go into some elevation, you have to go through certain trials and tests and stuff like that. So I was already ready for that. But unbeknownst to me, I started having these dreams of, pretty hard moments. And I knew that he was telling me that something was going to come, and it was going to not just affect me, it was going to affect my family, on both sides. It was going to hit my family. By his grace and mercy, last year when COVID and everything first started, my family didn't really get affected like that. Even for the winter storm that we had, my family didn't really get affected that bad. They lost some lights and stuff like that, but for the most part, God has been covering my family like it's no tomorrow. So the end of May, beginning of June, then he really started talking to me. And he told me, basically, he said, "You're going to go through a valley experience because I have to chastise you. I only chastise the ones that I love, and to whom much is given, much is required. And in order for me to use you in this season that I need to use you in, I kind of gotta, I gotta put the press on you, and you're not going to like it." And then he started fussing at me, and when God talks to me and I hear his voice, it's like as if my father is talking to me, like he my father, but it's like my earthly father is talking to me. And my earthly father has a way of changing his voice and his countenance and his mannerisms when he really wants to get something into my head. Like he used to pluck me. He never really had to whoop me because I had this utmost respect and reverence for him and fear of him. He never really just had to whip me, but he used to pluck me aside the forehead. His fingers was so hard. He used to be like you plucking a melon to see if it's right. He used to pluck my forehead like to try to get my attention. So when God is telling me something and I know he mean business, it's like as if my earthly father is talking to me. So he was like, unbeknownst to you, you touched some things that were unclean. And you kind of started to backslide on some things that I had set you free from. And in order for me to use you in this season that I need to use you in, you can't do that. And I need to teach you how you're not supposed to do that and why you're not supposed to do it. He said, and then also I need you to learn how to be selfish a little bit. You have to learn how to start saying no. You cannot carry everybody else's trash in your trash can, because you see, whenever it's time for you to put your trash in there, it's full, it's overflowing. And then you be talking about, I can't handle it, God, I need your help. Just because you got everybody else mess and trash and stuff inside of your heart, inside of your spirit, inside of your trash, inside of your mind, inside of your body. Let's just keep it real, okay? So he was like, I got to let you go through this valley. He said, it's going to get hard. It's going to get dark. But all you need to do is trust me. Know that I'm God. And you told me I could have you, right? And I was like, well, yeah, God, yeah, I did say that. Okay, well, if I can have you, then I get to do what I need to do. And I need you to trust me. And I was like, last time I trusted you, Lord God, whew. Okay. So I did. And I didn't think anything of it. So then my family and I, we went to go watch my nephew play football because he's playing for the crew team, which is the overseer for that team. And the owner, I would say, of that team is Reign DeTruth from Houston, from ABN. And we went to Alabama to go see them play in a tournament. So on the way on that trip, I told my sister Shawanda, I said, sis, I've been dreaming. I say, and it's not going to be good. And she was like, oh, Lord, what we got to do? And at that time, it was around the time when hurricane season for us down here starts, in Texas. I said, well, we're going to have a storm. It's not going to be good. I said, but we got some stuff that's going to come to the family, and it's going to be pretty bad. And at that time, I didn't even know that our sister was going to pass away and all those things. I didn't know what was coming, but I knew it was coming and it was on the way and it was like right there. So fast forward. So God had allowed a spiritual brother of mine to prophesy unto me and tell me that God wanted me to go back to cosmetology school, because that's just a gift that I've been having pretty much my whole life, to do hair. That he wanted me to go back to cosmetology school, and he wants to use the cosmetology to help fund and be a resource to help to do other kingdom business that he needed me to do, because I was torn between those two things, this and something else. So I did. I signed up for school. I went back to school, and my first day at school had a girl that had contracted the COVID. So the school had told us if we wanted to go get tested that we should, and everything like that. So I went and got tested, but the girl had told me that they were having false negatives for the symptoms that I was having. I was having more of what the Delta symptoms were said to be. So she was like, be careful, because we've been having some false negatives. So long story short, the test came back. It was negative. So first, my father had asked me to get the shot, and then my mother had asked me to get the shot. And then that day when I really started feeling bad was the Thursday. I was like, okay, I'll get the shot. Well, let me back up a little bit. So I started getting sick with the COVID July 27th. So by August, our sister passed away August 7th. So by August 12th, I went and I took the shot, because everybody had been begging me and saying you need to take the shot. Now, here's the problem. Here's the issue. I asked God about the shot. God had told me not to take the shot. Okay, he told me not to take the shot. Okay, so my family had been begging me. Literally, my aunt was on the phone, like almost boo-hoo crying, asking me to take the shot, because all of my cousins and stuff was sick, and we were all me and one of my cousins, we were having a really hard time with it. So at the time, I didn't even know I was really sick, but I'm saying it now because 2020 hindsight. Anyway, so I went and took the shot. That day I took the shot, it was like a train had hit me, and my arm was swollen for like 2 days. Once that swelling went down, it was like hell broke loose, and I was in a fight for my life. We went to the funeral on the 21st. Came back for the day of the funeral. I was so sick, but I couldn't let anybody know that I was sick, but they could hear it, because when I have a blood clot in my lungs, which I ended up having one, it takes my voice. It takes my voice as if I have strep throat, but in my throat, nothing wrong with my throat. So I was feeling my voice was leaving, like I could tell something wasn't right. And I was really, really tired. So fast forward, come back from the services, and I was working at another work from home job. And when I say I have an insomnia, I would go to work at 8. From 10 to 5:15, I would sit at my desk. At 5:15, I would go straight from my desk to my bed, and I would not get out of my bed until the next morning to go to work. And I did that for 3 days straight. So when I did that for 3 days straight, that's whenever God was like, I need you to get out the bed, get in the shower, and go to the doctor. And I need you to do that now. And I was like, God, how am I gonna get out the bed and go to the shower? I can't walk. I couldn't walk, y'all. I couldn't talk. I couldn't pray. I couldn't sing. I could only just truly use the word in my heart and listen to what God. I literally was begging God. I was like, God, because at that time, my oldest sister had COVID. My roommate had COVID. My two niece and nephew had COVID. I believe my uncle, where my father's brother had COVID, but he was sick in the hospital. It was my cousins on my mother's side had COVID. So it was like, it was just a lot going on. So I was like, God, why don't you just allow me to die and get healed on the other side of heaven, and I'll trade places with my family, because they have kids, they have, grandchildren, let them stay here. It's just me, by myself. I would rather take their place. God was like, you can't tell me what to do. I need you to get out the bed, get in the shower, and go to the doctor. And I need you to do it now. So I was like, okay, God. So I did. I got in the shower and I went to the urgent care because the hospitals over here they were full. So I stayed in the urgent care for 3 days. The second day I was in urgent care, the lung doctor came in there and said, "You're gonna be my patient because you got some damage to your lungs." And he was like, "Whenever you get a chance, you're gonna come and see me in my office." He said, "I'm gonna take care of you." I was like, okay. I didn't really care. I was half healed, half gone, So fast forward, they sent me home after the third day. And when I got back home, it was like the heat in hell intensified. And the dude wanted me, okay? The devil wanted to get me, all right? And I remember just saying, God, I don't know what to do. But what happened was God allowed me to go onto a clubhouse, and I have a big brother and a big sister room that he allowed me to go in, and both of our community in those two rooms prayed for me. I was sounding like a little chirp bird. That's how my voice was. So August 29th, 2021, I woke up 2 times before a day in the morning and I could not breathe. The lung doctor had sent me home with a sleep test because he said that I had some sleep apnea, but he wanted to see how much of my lung damage I had, yada, yada, yada. So I woke up, literally, I could not breathe. That second morning, I woke up, the August 29th morning, I woke up and I could not talk, I could not breathe, I could not do anything. I was literally freaking out. I couldn't even call to my roommate. I had to tell my sister to call D. Like I had to use some sign language, and I don't know how I was able to do that. So finally, I was at God. It's like God helped me calm down enough to get dressed, take a shower, get dressed, and go to the hospital. Sorry, y'all. By the time I got to the hospital, by the time I got to the hospital, my blood pressure was high enough to where I was going to have a heart attack or a stroke or both of them at the same time. So fast forward, that night, probably about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, excuse me, probably about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I remember asking God, can I just go to sleep? And he was like, sorry, y'all. Okay. Hold on, you guys. I'm still trying to. I have my the anchor going. So I fell asleep and I fell asleep. Literally, I had to die. I remember God saying, your crayons are so, how you when you lose the paper on the crayons, the other colors rub onto the other crayon. Um, it was like as if he said, you know, your crayons won't even color the same color, the natural color anymore, and your stained cathedral glass is so shattered into a gazillion pieces. I literally cannot put you back together again. Now we know he can do whatever he wants. He's God, but he said, I have to let you die. I have to let all these 42 years of rape, lies, molestation, rejection, abandonment, abuse of all shape, forms, of fashion, all of your self doubt and low self esteem and too high self esteem and insecurity and all those things die. So literally, I died, went to heaven, amazing, peeped at hell, and came back into my body, healed, delivered, uh, redeemed, set free, loosed, and all those things. And then he told me, now go and tell your story, tell your testimony, tell the people that we don't have as much time as we think we have. I'm soon to come back. Tell your testimony to whoever will hear it. Go back out there and get the same little girls like you, the same women like you. Help the boys too, but for the most part, help the girls. Because I need the girls to be able to take care of the men. Because he's gonna start healing our men and making our men take their rightful place, and he needs us to be able to be their safe place to fall apart and things of that nature. And if we're hurt and we're battered and we're torn and we're psychologically abused and emotionally abused and mentally abused, and we can't do what we need to do as the mothers, as the wives, as the sisters, as the cousins, as the aunts, as the grandmothers. So that's my story, how he took me from rape and lies to Reign DeTruth, and now I'm Resurrected Reign. So I hope and pray that you got something out of my story, out of my testimony. If you ever need to ask me questions, you can find me on any of my platforms. On IG, it's at Reign DeTruth. My Gmail is Reign DeTruth. On Facebook, it's Reign DeTruth Powell or the SheReigns. Anything, if you type in SheReigns, you're going to pull up me. And you can find me here on YouTube. So I missed you all so much. Thank you all for being here with me tonight. You already know what it is, and by now you should know who it is. It's your girl Reign, and this has been Free Your Mind Friday. I had a chance to free my mind by sharing my testimony and part of my story with you. But in order for you to know the itty gritty in between, you know what I'm saying, you got to get the book, and the book should be coming out in 2022 as well. It will be a 3-part book. I need to stop doing that. It will be a 3-part book, and soon book 1 will be on pre-order. I probably will try to have it pre-order at the end of this year or going into the beginning of next year, because it's almost finished. I just have to get it tweaked and get it to the publishers, and then we can get it put the pre-order out there. So yeah, I love y'all with the love of God. I love y'all on purpose. Make sure you take God everywhere you go. If you can't take him, then don't go. And maybe you should ask him why you can't take him. Make sure you love God, love each other, and love yourself. Your girl Reign says it costs absolutely nothing to love. If we give each other a little more love and a little more love and a little more love, we can save and change our society and our culture. We can save and change our community and our children. We can save and change our world. We can make it great again. I will see y'all in a couple of shakes of a rabbit's tail. I truly, truly hope you all know that it is not your fault. Get help. Talk to somebody. You do not have to stay in that space that you're in. Somebody will and should help you, okay? Reach out to your girl, Reign. I will help you. That is what I do. And I'm here to pray for you. And I'm praying for all of the victims out there, all of those girls and boys that are still stuck in human trafficking and still stuck in prostitution and all those things. Truly, these things will soon come to an end, and we have to work together to make that happen. I love you with the love of God. I love you on purpose, like my sister Tay J says. And I'll talk to y'all soon. I'm out. Bye.